Hello everyone, I am the Caffeinated Critic, and here we review new films and new series releases, and we don't finish the review until I finish this cup of coffee. And today we're talking about Mario Galaxy, which is the sequel to the Super Mario Bros. Movie that was released a couple years ago. Mario ventures into space, exploring cosmic worlds and tackling galactic challenges far from the familiar Mushroom Kingdom. And I gotta say, for a movie called Mario Galaxy, it sure takes its time getting to space. So the Super Mario Galaxy movie is Nintendo's new animated film that features Mario, Peach, Luigi, and Yoshi. And while this film improves upon the first in many ways, including its animation style, it also lacks in its storytelling. Underneath the animation and the storytelling here, we unfortunately have a retread of the first film. But before we delve too much into that, let's start with what works here. The animation in this film is one of the things that is a true highlight. It's vibrant, colorful, and a clear step in the right direction for this franchise. It really captures the feel of the Mario Galaxy game, and alongside the animation, the score also is a standout here. The score is pulled straight from the Mario Galaxy soundtrack, which I have always known and loved when I was a kid. And if you're a Nintendo fan, you're going to have a lot of fun with the different references and Easter eggs that are sprinkled throughout the film. And then we can talk about the characters and some great moments that they have here. Specifically, Mario's brother Luigi acts as a wingman for him throughout this film to try to hook him up with Peach, which I actually thought was really funny. And then the film decides to include Yoshi, which is one of my favorite Nintendo characters. On top of that, there is a backstory involving Peach and Rosalina that actually is quite compelling in this lackluster film with a lackluster story. It adds a layer of emotional depth that I was not expecting in this, but there's not much else besides that. And that's kind of where we can start delving into the problems. Let's go into what doesn't work here. As much as the film delves into the story of Rosalina and Peach, it never really fully commits to that emotional core of the story. The narrative itself feels hollow and lackluster, and there's not too much going on for these characters. And instead of going in a new direction, it merely does a retread where another princess is captured, and the bros must help each other to find them. What makes this film even more disappointing is that there is a moment where you feel like things might turn around. When the team finally reaches space, the music swells up and you really feel like they're about to go into a deep and different direction. But instead of giving us something new, it just takes them straight to Bowser's planet, where Rosalina is captured, and it doesn't really do anything new with the story. And then there are a couple smaller issues that do add up, including the relationship between Bowser and Bowser Jr. This father and son relationship is trying to get the audience's attention and make us really care about them, but it really didn't do much for me. The jokes between them don't really land in comparison to Mario and Luigi's. And Bowser even fakes like a redemption arc in this film, and the whole time I was thinking he's totally gonna back up on this. And he does. He backs out of it. In addition, there is a scene in here where there's an exposition sequence through puppeteering that I did not think was very effective, and I felt like it was kind of ham-fisted as well. And oddly enough, for a Mario movie, this feels more like Peach's movie than Mario's. The most glaring issue of all, though, here is that we don't get into the galaxy until about 40 minutes into the movie. And for a movie called Mario Galaxy, that leaves a lot to be desired. And when we finally get to the galaxy, it's not as expansive and meaningful as the games. In fact, it only touches on like a couple planets from the games. This moment should have been a highlight of the film, but instead, it becomes a disappointment. So at the end of the day, the Super Mario Galaxy movie is really another run-of-the-mill kids animation film. It looks great, sounds great, and has some good character moments, but the story is incredibly hollow and not very compelling. So it ultimately becomes a forgettable experience. So with that being said, on the caffeinated scale, I will give the Super Mario Galaxy movie an instant coffee rating, and not the good kind. And look at that, I have finished my cup of coffee. I hope you feel as caffeinated as me now that I've finished my cup of coffee. Please leave me any recommendations of new film reviews I can review in the comments section down below. In the meantime, I will continue brewing new reviews for you soon. I'll see you next time.